Hi, Stephen here from Sound of Edition Wave, and this is day 4 of the October Daily Draws. So, as we start the weekend, let's see what message we get. And I'll be taking the first card from the Ghost Tarot, followed by an Oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch, Samhain Oracles. Let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Okay, here we go. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. The wheel always turns, and we must adapt to each changing circumstance as it turns. This time of year, we're starting, the wheel is turning again. We're into the autumn season. We're leaving summer behind. We're going into autumn. And then, of course, we'll go into winter. We're going into this time of year now, so we're moving on. The wheel has turned further and will continue to turn. And there's nothing we can do about the wheel turning, because the wheel will turn regardless. All we can do is respond to the turning, is to adapt to the turning of the wheel, adapt to the changes that take place as the wheel turns. And also knowing that whichever part of the wheel you're on, sometimes you're at the top of the wheel, sometimes you're at the bottom, but as the wheel turns, you will continually move down and then back up and down. It's a cycle of ups and downs. Sometimes you're at the top, sometimes you're at the bottom. But whichever place you're at, you're then going to be moving towards and then back up again. So whatever situation is, it's always for a time. As the wheel turns, it's always transitional to the next stage. So, for instance, if you're not too fond of autumn and winter, there's nothing you can do about it. Autumn and winter is going to happen. You can't stop it. But you do have the assurance that after autumn and winter, spring will come back. Spring will return after the winter. You can know that the wheel will turn eventually far enough and it will be spring again. But for now, while it is where it is, you need to be able to adjust and adapt. Even if it's not your favorite time, even if it's not the best time for you, you need to make the best of it that you can. And that means that you approach things from a different perspective. Maybe the energy shift in how you approach life during this time. So maybe you need to adjust your own personal wheel in line with the big wheel that turns. And the more that we can sort of unify with that, the smoother our transition through this time will be. And as I say, the wheel always turns. Time always passes. The constant in life is change. Things evolve, things move on. That's the way that life is. That's the cycle of life. Once we know how to fit in with that cycle and to match the rhythm that life takes, then we're going to find it easier or smoother. May not be easy, but it will be less difficult than if we try and resist it, because we can try and resist the changing of the wheel, the turning of the wheel. It will ultimately win out, and it will create friction in our lives because we are resisting, going against the movement of the wheel. And we are too, as individuals, we're weaker than the wheel. And we can't stop the wheel. We can't turn back the wheel. The wheel will have its way. But if we're resisting, instead of moving with it, if we resist, then the wheel could, cause some friction to us, and then we might come off worse in the end of it. The easiest way is to go with it, to go with the wheel, to go with the change. And I think that's what the message of the Wheel of Fortune is today. Okay, let's see which oracle card we get to go with that. Candle magic. Well, as the darker nights come, maybe we'll be lighting a few candles. I know we have lights and everything. Hey, light a candle. Save on the electric bill. Which is ever rising these days. But this seems to be more of a ritual. This is a way of realigning ourselves with the wheel, is doing some kind of ritual or just some kind of intent, like lighting a candle, saying that the darker times, darker half of the year may be coming, the darker nights may be coming, there's going to be darker earlier, etc. this time of year. And we need to adapt to that. We need to change, but let's bring some light in. Let's light a candle. Let's do something and say that during this time we can provide our own light. We can search for the inner light within us as well, metaphorically speaking, to shine in at this time, to sustain us. This is different ways we can adapt and use this time in order to be able to move forward. Speak your breath into its velvet. Recite along its spine all that you desire, all that which will unravel. That's a bit cryptic. I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go more with the image, because they're sort of sat in a circle like the wheel. And they're in the shadows, and we've got all these candles here. There is light, even at this time of year. There's always something, like a star in the night sky. There's always some form of light, no matter how dark it may be, that will guide us, that will shine, that will illuminate, that will help us and sustain us as we go through this change. We go through the turning of the wheel until it turns once again. As I say, if it's tying it to the time of year, spring will come eventually. Yes, it's some months off now, but we've got autumn and winter to get through, but we will get through it, and we can be sustained by the light that we create in our lives, by either physically lighting a candle as a ceremonial sort of representation of that, or just by gaining our own inner light and finding ways to find positivity and other experiences to sustain us and strengthen us during this time. And knowing that it will be for a time, and then the wheel will keep turning and bring us back into perhaps a time we're more comfortable with. But the constant thing is change. We just need to live with that and adapt to it. And that is the message of the cards today. Okay, so that is today's message. I'll be back tomorrow with day 5. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.